Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream show. Our special guest is one of my subscribers and someone who has followed the Dan Markel case for many years, Bluebell. Hello, thank you for being here. And look at your beautiful blue eyes. Your eyes are so blue.
Thank you. Well, not like Wendy, they're natural, so I don't have to wear contacts, but you're embarrassing me now.
Oh, okay. Well, you're what people would say it's pretty wicked smart, right? You get my
Yes.
Boston accent?
Yes. I think the guy who cross-examines her, yeah, he's from Boston.
Yeah, the coast. Yeah, Chris. Well, it's so nice to meet you. So, we just happened to meet by accident, and it's been great to find someone else who is totally into this Dan Markel case. So, do you want to say something about yourself?
Sure. So Bluebell is just my nickname. Just gonna start there. Maybe I'll say my name as I get more accustomed to YouTube, but this is my first foray into it. I work in finance. I'm originally from New York. So just like many probably people in the chat, I saw this case probably the first time in 2016. I think it was called In-Laws and Outlaws I think it was 2020, ABC 2020. And I was convinced. I thought, Wendy, I thought oh my gosh, wow. I believed her story. And then I sort of fell off the radar a little bit because I didn't see any traction. I didn't see any arrests. And then once Charlie got arrested, that's when I started kind of picked up again and started tracking it and watched his trial and just have gotten deep dives into all of this. Not like you, Judy, though. I feel like I was surprised this week. You're just shooting off so many videos even this week. I'm like, how does she find the time?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder too. It's like, geez, I should be paying attention to my real job and my family obligations, and I'm ignoring my friends in real life. So once this trial is over, I'm going to get back to real life, right?
Yeah, but you're meeting new friends like me. We just ran into each other, so it was really nice to meet you in the wild, as they say.
Yeah, that was just so crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, is she one of my former divorce clients that I can't recognize?
I've never been married before, so no.
Oh, okay. And I hope you never need legal assistance. So
I hope, yeah.
Now you know me. So yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys out there. Thank you so much for your support, you guys. So do you want to first talk about the latest news in the case? Do you have any commentary about Donna's trial?
Yeah, just this is the only trial that I've actually had a desire to actually be there in person. So I actually looked at airfare and I thought maybe I'll go to Tallahassee in August, but airfare's too much, and I'm kind of nervous to be in the same room with Donna, if I'm honest. I think Wendy, when she gets arrested, I'll probably be there. But as far as Donna, I follow a lot of your content and like Carl Steinbeck's content. So I know he's been posting a lot of things lately about her, and he keeps saying, oh, she keeps committing new crimes in prison. So that's kind of like my takeaway. I think the defense is filing all these motions, and I don't have a legal background, but yeah, I think they had everything. The deadlines were this past Monday, right? And I know that you and Professor, I think her name is Jo
Patuto. Yes.
Yeah. So I was listening to her yesterday. I was just like, okay, I wish I could just copy and paste and regurgitate what she said. But yeah, I learned a lot even from yesterday's stream. But my takeaway was I think Donna had added a lot of people to her witness list. So I'm curious to learn more about that and see who will actually get called. The one thing I was going to ask you, Judy, do you know if their son Rob is going to get called? Is he on the witness list?
Yes, he's on the state's witness list also, and I really do think he is going to get called because he probably has so much insider knowledge about the whole family, and he knows all about the motive. He was totally, clued in when Wendy was like rabid over Dan's filings and the grandma motion and stuff. So sorry, my voice is dying as usual. I told you can feel free to take over and do more of the talking because I actually had divorce court this morning.
Oh no.
Then I had multiple client phone calls and client meetings, so my voice is dead. Sorry. Yeah, but to answer Jared's comment here, thank you, Jared, for your message. I did read it. How did the defense put Susan and Rick on the witness list? Georgia will crush those two on cross and they'll end up helping the state. Let's hope that's what happens. But see, just like what I said on the previous show, I'm suspecting that she just threw on tons of people to make it look like she has some sort of defense and friends and people who are going to come to her aid. But really, I'd be surprised if she called even 5 of those people. So I don't think Susan and Rick are going to help because they would probably say, yeah, we saw her panicking and packing up and she was looking for a place to run off to. And she said she had to get out of town and she needed her power of attorneys done and new trusts and new will. So I don't think they're going to be helpful. Yeah. So what do you think?
I think when you were talking with Professor Joe, she said that on direct, the defense is going to try to be really limited in what they ask her so that Georgia can't she can only cross-examine on what is asked on direct. I think she's in that capacity. She said, I think Professor Joe said it's based on the jurisdiction. I hope she is not very well prepped and just kind of says it all and outs Donna, just because I think they call it consciousness of guilt. Just her claiming, I'm going to Vietnam because we're going through this trauma because of Charlie. But why would you buy a ticket, one-way ticket, and not, it's more expensive to buy 2 one-way tickets versus a round trip airfare. So, and then she on a hot mic saying that, non-extradition. So
looking for a non-extradition country, she looked into China and Korea, but she needs a non-extradition country. Yeah. I mean, that's going to come in. It's going to make her look terrible. So,
yeah. And for anyone in the chat, I'm sure everyone probably is already aware of the podcast. It's a few years old. It's called Over My Dead Body. It's where Rob Adelson is featured. I actually re-listened to a couple of episodes this week, but it's just so telling. Like he knows his family and he knows what they did to him, trying to basically disrupt his marriage to his wife just because she was of Indian descent. And just seeing him watching their behavior after the murder and just, he was convinced, I guess. And actually I rewatched one of your episodes recently with Jared Ross, Wendy's friend. And she was acting really strange afterwards. She randomly IM'd him on Google or something and was just fishing for information. So he slowly just seeing his origin story and how he became suspicious of her as well is really neat to watch as well. So yeah, I tried to go into the vault this week and kind of listen to all different contexts. So apologies to the chat if I'm all over the place right now.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So because there's so many details in this case that sometimes I go back and listen to the testimony. That's why we're going to do our reaction to Wendy's testimony also. So yeah, but in response to Omar, I think that if the state calls him as witness, which I think they will, they'll probably ask, how did Donna and Wendy react when that motion to relocate was denied? What did they say? What did Donna say? What was her reaction when the grandma motion got filed by Dan? So I'm sure he knows lots about Donna's controlling behavior and how she would freak out and keep ruminating over any sort of problems. So
Well,
Yeah.
do you think they'll focus a lot, Judy, on just their involvement or over involvement in his, like, I guess, or
His
basically,
marriage.
yeah, telling him that they would cut him off and basically discard him if he didn't leave her. And so I think that family's just very enmeshed. So he listened to them. And as a side note for the chat, my interest is like personality disorders. And so I'm always watching the Adelsons, and I'm like, I wonder who the scapegoat is in this family. Was it Rob? Was there a rotating, sometimes it's the lost child, or like Wendy's definitely the golden child. I'm wondering if maybe Charlie was a scapegoat and he just wanted to win his parents' favor, and so he kind of did all their bidding. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but it turns out maybe Rob ended up being the scapegoat all along. But
Yeah.
people like Donna and Harvey.
Well, I think it was probably Rob first and then Dan Markel when they suddenly turned on him.
Probably, yeah.
Once Wendy discarded him, then they just blamed him for all her problems and her being stuck in horrible Tallahassee.
Yeah, it was funny because I caught, it was a couple months ago on STS. I haven't been on their live streams in a while, but they were talking about Wendy's relocation to Austin. And we were just kind of joking in the chat how she's probably complaining about Austin just as much as she complained about Tallahassee, because if you know anything about Austin, it's not the best place to live. So I'm actually surprised she's there. But I think it's because of her boyfriend or something, right?
Well, it's also probably because they wanted to run away from Florida after Charlie's conviction and Donna's arrest.
Okay.
So, and plus she's so proud of being able to speak Spanish. So maybe she thought her language abilities could be useful there. And it's so close to Mexico. She can just go across the border if she needs to.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past her. I mean, this family tends to flee, so they're always looking for their exit strategy. And I'm sure they're probably watching her like a hawk, because if Donna gets convicted, which she likely will, I'm guessing Wendy knows her fate. I mean, I think she would be foolish to think that she's getting out of this. There's too much consciousness of guilt and too much evidence, too many coincidences with Wendy. I think she's definitely obviously involved, but
yeah.
I was going to say one thing, I forgot about it, but I'll.
Well, on that note, so you said when you first watched that special from 2016, you didn't think Wendy was involved. So that's the way I sort of felt too, because I didn't know all these details to the case. So when did your feelings change?
I think it was just gradual. It was really during Charlie's, because I really got involved again during Charlie's trial. And that's when I started doing deep dives. And I saw just how hostile she was on the stand, and just how she minimizes everything. And I started looking at her like a sociopath, to be honest, because there was just zero, I would say, empathy for Dan. It was, everything she did was to distance herself from the crime. And I abhor her calling him Danny just because she called him gibbers. It just makes me so upset when she calls him Danny on the stand. So yeah, I think it was I don't know if there was like a aha moment. I just sort of was like, whoa. I didn't even realize she testified in the other trials, because like I said, I really got reconnected again with when Charlie was arrested. So I've since gone back and watched it, and I thought she was a lot more hostile in the first couple of trials, and I think she's gotten some coaching.
Yes.
She's a lot more polished and less combative on the stand, because I think she felt invincible, I think, in the first two trials. And she was kind of, I mean, sometimes the looks she would give Georgia was just intense. I was like, whoa, I'm watching on the screen and I'm kind of aghast at, wow, like I think she's really a sociopath and the puppeteer. And, but yeah, I don't know. I think just watching her on the stand, I was like, and I told you I follow like personality disorders, specifically cluster Bs. And so one of them that people, so there's 4, it's antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissist, which most people are familiar with narcissist. But I just saw her, like, for example, antisocial. I saw her breaking a lot of rules. Like Georgia was pointing out all like the divorce. She was just breaking a lot of the divorce settlement stuff, the decrees. There was parental alienation, changing the boys' last names. I mean, there's just, the evidence is just stacked against her. And she did everything that a guilty person would do. And even, you would think she would keep the boys' last names, but she even had to remove the middle name. And I think the jurors even asked her, they're like, did she actually do that? So I feel like even every jury has been convinced that she's involved as well. So if I were her, I would head to Mexico right now.
That's what one of the commenters said. Yeah, she should just like walk over to Mexico and get a flight to Vietnam from there. And that could be what she is planning on doing, as soon as Donna gets convicted. That's why I do hope that she does get arrested right after she testifies. That would make sense, because she could flee.
I mean, Charlie's talked about it, Donna's talked about it, Harvey was complicit. I feel like there's a lot of focus on the 3, Charlie, Donna, and Wendy, but I think, again, I think Harvey's like that covert narcissist, and Donna's like that borderline, and she's like the muscle, and I think a lot of these ideas are probably his. I mean, because I don't think the apple fall from the tree. I think probably Charlie's very similar to his dad, but his dad is like a covert narcissist, Harvey is, and I think Charlie's like an overt. So I think Harvey is much more involved than people give him credit for. He just knows how to hide it better, but he's surrounded by like histrionic borderline. Yeah. They tell on themselves, which is, I love that about Charlie and Wendy, is they constantly tell on themselves. I'm like, yes, keep doing it, keep talking, because it's just like, I don't know, they don't behave like innocent people.
Yeah.
I think when I first watched Wendy in her interview, I'm upset she never got formally interrogated. I was upset that she had a victim's advocate, and she was trying to cozy up to the victim's advocate during the meeting, but she never got interrogated. I forgot my point. Sorry. What was your next question? Sorry.
Oh, well, I feel like my attention is jumping around because I'm reading the comments and stuff. But so somebody did ask in the comments, why would Scott turn them in? I think it's because he started getting concerned about himself, because as far as I know, he's still a U.S. citizen.
Who is Scott? Remind me.
Scott Radius. He's the friend of Charlie's who called the state attorney's office and told them that Donna and Harvey were probably planning on leaving the country. So he was living in Asia somewhere at the time. I'm not sure if it was Singapore or Vietnam, but Fancy Fiction said that she heard from a source that he was actually a police officer in Florida, and he had been separated from his job due to some sort of bad situation. I don't know if it's true or not, but, good for him if he started thinking like, oh boy, I could get in trouble criminally for helping these people. So, and we're grateful.
Speaking of accomplices, so yeah, I feel like there's very few people that did the right thing in this situation. There was when Wendy was working in Miami, she was clerking, I think, for a judge or someone.
Yeah.
And didn't he contact the judge in Tallahassee, and didn't that judge seal the affidavit? So, and then she couldn't keep her mouth shut, and she told everything to her mom. So like she kind of compromised the judge. But I just think they had so much special treatment, the Adelsons, and it just, the injustice of it all, like the privilege. She on the stand, which we'll watch a little bit later, the testimony, she just plays dumb when she's on the stand about the law, and she kind of drags things out on the stand. And she doesn't even know about the $1 million bribe. I'm like, can you remind me? Can you refresh my memory? I'm like, you know this, Wendy, you know this like the back of your hand. And I think the jury, she underestimates the jury, because the jury is smart. And that's kind of what I learned a lot from just watching Carl Steinbeck a lot. He's like, the jury's smart, and they'll get annoyed with you if you keep playing dumb. And if she just was more, what do they always say when you're detained or something, just comply, right? Well, she's kind of detained on the stand. Just comply with when the prosecutor's asking you a question, answer the question, and don't evade,
Yeah.
But she's a constant liar, and I think she likes to be in control, and so she hates that Georgia's in control. So her contempt for Georgia is just palpable. So she just needs to tone it down on the stand for her own.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help her, but I'm just saying, like, she doesn't do herself any favors on the stand by dragging things out, by playing dumb. I just think that's just such a stupid tactic, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, she probably heard of all the people criticizing her at the first couple of trials and making fun of her, like big bug eyes, doe-eyed look with her mouth open the whole time and, trying to be all cutesy and, sticking out her tongue and stuff. So she definitely toned it down by Charlie's trial. She did seem more scared and stressed out, no more smiling and grinning. And, well, she did smile a lot at Rashbaum when he did his friendly cross-examination. Yeah, that was kind of strange, but most of the time she did seem a lot more serious.
And I actually watched the body language or behavioral panel, and they did Charlie's trial when Rashbaum was, I guess, what is it, on direct? What is it called? He was not cross-examiner. He was asking her questions on direct.
Direct.
Yeah. So she was a lot more poised and, I guess, professional. But then when on cross, she kind of opened her mouth a lot and tried to look doe-eyed and like all innocent. And they just saw like the distinction between the two. And it's like, people notice that, the juries notice that. So if she was going to be the doe-eyed person, she should be consistent with it at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 5 Core 5 is bringing up that topic of the judge that Wendy was clerking for. It's Adalberto Diaz. I think that's his name. So there's this wiretap call between Charlie and Donna back in 2016, where Donna said something like Wendy's judge had a talk with a Tallahassee judge and she's getting information. So, it just makes you question, like, what's going on here? What was she being told, some sort of behind the scenes secret info? Because as Mentor Lawyer showed us on Deep Dive True Crime, that arrest warrant for Sigfredo Garcia then became unsealed. So I do recall attorney Stephen Webster getting pretty angry, though, because I think he's like friends or he knows that Tallahassee judge. And I can't even remember that judge's name because it's like unusual. It sounds like Swedish or something, like a SJ something OJEN. Somebody knows out there. But that judge, Stephen Webster, was pretty stridently defending and saying this judge is supremely ethical. How dare this person, who's this Mentor Lawyer guy, try to insinuate that this judge did anything improper. So, I don't know what happened, but it does sound kind of strange when you hear Donna's wiretap phone call between her and Charlie. So
she was telling Charlie that Wendy was going to be late because she was meeting with the judge. And that judge was Miami. And the Miami judge that Wendy clerked for was really good friends with the Tallahassee judge. And I think they even provided coverage for each other. So they were really tight. So Wendy basically leveraged her connection with the Miami judge, and he pulled some special favors for her, which is very unethical. And suddenly, I think, I don't know the exact details, but the Tallahassee judge suddenly was being a lot more restrictive with information after Wendy's involvement, after the wiretap. So they connected the dots of the timeline. So.
Okay, so this is the judge that mentor lawyer was referring to. Sotrom. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this. But once again, it's like, I don't want to say anything negative about him because what if he didn't do anything wrong? You know, is it normal for a judge to talk to his friend who's a judge, you know, about some sort of criminal investigation where the other judge has a clerk whose family could be involved with the criminal case? I don't know what happened. This is just what is being, you know, thrown around out there because of that wiretap phone call. So we have to protect ourselves against defamation, right? You know, it's like, this is what people are saying. I don't know what happened.
I think you just have to follow sort of the timeline. How was this judge behaving? Like, what were his rulings before the wiretap, and what were his rulings after? And they just became a lot more favorable to the Adelsons after, you know, the Miami judge.
But I think what mentor lawyer was saying was that it seemed like the Sigfredo Garcia arrest warrant or probable cause affidavit was supposed to be secret. It was supposed to be sealed, but that information could have been leaked to Wendy. And then after that, then the affidavit became public, which was unusual, because why would you make it public if it was supposed to be sealed? You know, it's as if to cover his tracks potentially. But these are all just allegations. So sorry, my voice is dying.
No, I can.
Okay.
I can.
Okay, I'm going to keep talking. Let's just go ahead and play the Wendi Adelson thing. Unless you would like to say more, feel free to take over.
No, I don't want to get sued by this, so I'm going to say allegedly. So
yeah, it's all allegedly. These are all just internet, YouTube rumors. But if you want to see the video, it's on Deep Dive True Crime. And he created a new Dan Markel specific channel, but he's been putting stuff on both channels. So I can't even remember what the name of that new channel is. It's something like Dan Markel. I don't know, Dan Markel's News.
He created a new channel, Judy?
Yes, yeah, which, you know, that's his choice, but I think most people prefer just seeing one channel instead of, you know, multiple channels where things are spread. Yeah. Okay, now I can't find my old comment. Oh, here it is. Okay, so you guys, please support Deep Dive True Crime. He's the OG of covering the Dan Markel case on YouTube. And so he has graciously agreed to let me use his footage or show his videos and react to his stuff today. So I'm going to share whatever paltry revenue I get from this live stream with him, because he has put in so many years and lots of late nights giving us behind the scenes info, and sometimes using his own funds to get these depositions and special info. So, okay.
I found the name of the channel. It's called Dan Markel's Murder Saga.
Okay.
So Dan Markel's Murder Saga is what he's named.
Okay.
So he has 6,000 subscribers. So I'm going to subscribe too.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. Because, you know, he started covering this case probably back in, I don't know, 2019, 2018, back when nobody cared or nobody knew about this case. Mm-hmm. So a lot of his old stuff has been hidden, but, you know, it's great to see that he started this and it's become like this big thing on YouTube where so many people are covering this case now. So, and I know the Markel family is also very supportive and appreciative of James, Deep Dive True Crime, as well as his new channel. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mia. So there's a link in the chat so you can see his channel. Okay, so what we're going to do here is just play a little bit of Wendy's testimony from 2022. And this is the second trial. And I think it's a good refresher because every time she gets on the stand, she says something different. So let's take a look, step back in time to 2022 and see what Wendy said. And we'll stop maybe every 5 to 6 minutes to give commentary. Okay, thank you.
At the time, but it was pizza that wasn't kosher, and so that became challenging.
All right, so this was something that sort of came up as an issue during the course of the marriage.
It did.
All right, and other things as well. I don't mean to suggest that it was based solely on the children's diets, but that was something that.
On Rover, there's a service for every dog and cat. First, we offer overnight boarding. Your pet
is going to come up later, and I wanted to make sure the jurors understood what was meant by kosher diet. All right, did you move out of the marital home when you separated?
I did.
And where did you go to live when you left the marital home?
I rented a house, and I went to that house.
All right, was that at the Aqua Ridge residence?
Yes, it was.
Just 3303 Aqua Ridge, sound right?
That sounds right.
Okay, and that location is here in Leon County, right?
It is.
Okay, as well as the Trescott residence.
They're both in Leon County.
About how far apart are those two residences?
I think it used to take about 15, 20 minutes to drive, depending on traffic.
How long after you moved out of the home did you file for divorce?
I actually don't remember the answer to that. I'm assuming I would have filed for divorce right away.
Within a month, sound about right?
That sounds about right.
Okay, I'm going to show you Exhibit 59 and ask you to take a look at the exhibit. My question, Ms. Adelson, you can look through it as much as needed to answer this question.
She had a question. What was your question?
It looks like it's about 800 pages long. So you want me to?
I want you to look through it as much as is needed to answer the following question. Does it appear to be a fair and accurate copy of your divorce file?
I mean, from the front page, sure.
Okay. Do you have, thumb through it a little bit and just see if there's any reason to dispute that that's your complete divorce file from the clerk's office. It's certified if you want to take a look at the certification.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so I want you to take a look, if you would, at the petition that is on State's Exhibit 59, pages 1 through 5.
The one right on top?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All the pages should be numbered through, so I'm referring to 1 through 5 on the bottom right corner there.
Mhm.
Okay, and that was your petition for divorce, correct?
Yes.
And so this was, would you agree that this was a contentious divorce?
I think it was made much more difficult by Danny, who didn't want to get divorced, but sure, we can call it contentious.
Not what we would classify as an amicable divorce. You hear about those.
No, it would be not an amicable divorce.
All right. And part of what you were seeking in your divorce in these documents in front of you was permission from the court to move with your children to South Florida. Is that correct?
That was part of the overall divorce proceedings.
All right. And specifically on pages 43 through 50, there's a petition to include a request to be allowed to relocate with minor children. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And why were you seeking to move to South Florida?
I was seeking a place that would be stable and permanent for the kids and me. Danny never planned on staying in Tallahassee. It's just a question of time before he moved to New York to be with his girlfriend or had dreams of being at Harvard. So Tallahassee was just a temporary stopping point. I wanted a place that was permanent for us where we had family.
Just have to jump in here and say, this is exactly why it seemed so stupid that their solution was to kill Dan. Because if he might be moving to New York to be with his girlfriend, then why do you have to kill him? She should have just waited. Something could have happened where they would have had to change the custody arrangement anyway. So
I think, if I may add, so hey Mona, I guess in the chat, so you're right. I think in this trial, Georgia definitely missed the Pearl Harbor style. I think she did it in Charlie's trial, but in this trial, she did. I feel like they didn't focus a lot on how Wendy, I guess, basically pulled the surprise divorce on Dad. She likes to do the surprise attack, which is basically how he got murdered. It's a surprise attack. And so that's like kind of their style. And I think, yeah, you're right, Judy. They could have just waited it out and been patient, but there literally was a motion filed. I think the judge is going to rule on it in August of 2014, whether Donna was allowed to be with the kids, supervised or unsupervised. So I think they were, and I think Wendy downplays that, oh, the judge is never going to take him seriously as far as like stripping her of her, I guess, law privileges or getting her censured. I forget the exact terminology, but I think both Donna and Wendy, they had a lot at stake versus like access to the kids, and then also Wendy's like law career. And I don't think Wendy could deal with her image being destroyed. Her image is so important to her. So she has to annihilate Dan. So that's why, I mean, criminals are dumb. So the Adelsons are very educated, but they're ultimately very, very dumb criminals.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Ready to play it?
Yep.
Okay.
We support.
And why did South Florida seem like a place of permanence to you?
Right. I mean, because we had family support, because I work in immigration, there were a lot of career opportunities for me there.
Are you from South Florida?
I am.
Okay. And when you say family support, what family resided there?
My mother, father, and brother.
Was the relocation to South Florida the most important part of your divorce?
No.
Was it your most non-negotiable term?
No.
Okay. But it was very important to you?
I wouldn't say it was very important to me.
Was it very important to your mother?
She was much more looking forward to having her daughter and her grandchildren home. Yeah.
If you would take a look for me at page 46, paragraph E, just read that to yourself and let me know when you've had an opportunity to read that.
I read the first paragraph by E. Do you want me to read the second one?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And in those paragraphs, Ms. Adelson, are you alleging that Mr. Markel has created a hostile work environment for you at the Florida State University College of Law?
Still taking gabapentin, amitriptyline, or duloxetine. Then try this strange 10-second.
He did during a period of time.
And was disparaging you to your colleagues. And if you'll take a look at pages beginning on 79, the document beginning on 79. And the question is this Mr. Markel's 23-page response to your motion to relocate?
You're asking me, is this
His response to your motion to relocate?
Yes, it looks like it.
All right, that's quite verbose. Would you agree with that?
I imagine it is. At some point, Danny fired or alienated all of his attorneys and started doing his own legal work. So
fair to say he was adamantly opposed to you taking his kids to South Florida.
yes, he shared all of that here, which is different than the conversations we had. But
That's what he filed.
what he filed is what the judge sanctioned him for.
All
Yes.
right. And in that filing, I'm specifically referencing to page 82, where Markel states that the sole stated reason the wife seeks to relocate with the party's minor children is so she can be closer to her parents. My understanding is you don't agree that's why you wanted to move.
It wasn't the sole reason why I wanted to move.
But you do agree it was a reason.
It was absolutely a reason. I wanted to create some stability for my kids, and having family around helps have a more stable environment.
Is it fair to say that your mother, Donna Adelson, was following these divorce proceedings pretty closely?
She was definitely being a little bit over-involved. Yeah.
She was pretty invested in your personal life. Is that fair to say?
She is one of those moms, yes.
All right. And we talked about your mom, Donna Adelson. Who's your father?
What is my father's name?
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Adelson.
And where do Donna and Harvey live currently?
They live in Miami.
And are you still very close with your parents?
I am.
All right. And do you still live in close proximity to your parents?
I live about a 15-minute drive away.
And where did they live at the time that Dan Markel was killed?
They lived in Coral Springs, Florida.
And were you close with your mom back around the time that you were living in Tallahassee?
I was.
And did she have a close relationship with your children as well?
She did.
Are your parents employed?
Right now, they are both retired.
What about back in 2014?
In 2014, they were both employed.
How were they employed then?
Then my father had a dental practice, and my mom was managing his practice.
What's the name of the dental practice?
Dr. Harvey Adelson, DDS?
All right, does Adelson Institute ring a bell as well?
Yes.
And do you know whether the practice there was successful, meaning lucrative?
At one point it was, and
What
not
about between
anymore.
what about between 2013 and 2016? Was it lucrative at that time?
Between 2013 and 2016, it was definitely, the business was doing better than it did after that point when the social media barrage happened.
Referring to this case?
Absolutely.
Okay. But previous to the murder, the Adelson Institute was earning approximately $2 million in profit each year.
I have no idea what it was earning. I haven't the slightest idea, but
Do you
that
know
is
whether
a
your
large amount.
parents had other investments other than their work at the Adelson Institute?
I don't know.
You don't know if they own any properties?
I know now that they own properties, but I didn't then.
Okay. And do you know now that they owned properties then?
I actually don't know when they acquired the properties, so I don't know.
All right. Was your divorce impacting your family financially? So this is prior to the murder and the
It was
social
certainly
media.
impacting me financially, but I don't think it was impacting the rest of my family.
All right. How many lawyers did you have in your divorce?
Okay, a lot of things to pick on here, but most, I don't know, the thing that stands out most to me, I made it into a short, is this little segment here where she acted like she didn't even know if her parents had investment properties. That is just absolutely ridiculous because they had plenty of rental properties. Charlie talked about how it was so great to have these checks coming in every month from the tenants, and Harvey would go and collect quarters from the laundry machines. So she knew. I mean, you're an attorney. Why wouldn't your family talk to you about these types of things?
Yeah, I just think this strategy, I don't know why she, maybe one-on-one, I think this is the thing with narcissists like Wendy, is this is the strategy she's deployed her entire life, and it works well for her because it's usually one-on-one. People, she can't triangulate and people can't like swap stories, but now all eyes are on her. So she's using the same tactics of manipulation that she does on one-on-one, but like she's got too many eyes on her right now. And I just think this strategy is really poor. So her playing dumb and aloof and pretending like she doesn't know anything is, you know, this trope that she's trying to do, like innocent, ignorant Wendy. And I think that's why Georgia later on spells out her, I think, law career, her education.
Well, that was DeCoste. Yeah, that was Christopher DeCoste.
He does, yeah.
You're a Gates scholar. You have a master's degree. You know, you graduated, was it magna cum laude from Brandeis University. You got a clerkship. That's hard to get. Well, she probably had connections to help her get that, but I don't know for sure.
She's probably, you know, charmed and flirted her way into probably every situation that she's, you know, it's kind of like that love bombing and until the discard comes and then you never existed. So yeah, I think, for me, it was just, I think there was a point, I've watched this a couple of times this week, so forgive me if this is not part of the video, but I think she was trying to disparage Dan Markel during this part of the testimony, just by saying like, you know, like how combative he was and how many lawyers he had. And I just think it's not a good look to show like disparage Dan, like just say we had a messy divorce. We each had legal counsel. We each try to like win. I understand, but I feel like she still is trying to run the smear campaign on him and she's still trying to play victim. And it's just, she needs to stop. So.
And then those other questions that Georgia asked her, what was the most important part of your divorce? Well, her mom said in an email to her, the most important part of your divorce is relocation. So she was saying that's your non-negotiable. And it's important for her attorney to know that that's her non-negotiable. So it's funny how Wendy acted like she didn't remember, or, well, maybe that wasn't important to her, but it was certainly important to Donna. And Donna also complained that the family's income, even Charlie's income, was being negatively impacted by this horrible divorce and family law litigation. So once again, Wendy's just like being stubborn and just making up a bunch of lies when she doesn't even have to.
She doesn't have to, and she could say, yeah, my parents were trying to help me out also financially with a divorce. Like, all of it could be easily explained, but I just think she's probably told lies to her friends, and it's like she's trying to support this lie she's probably told from the beginning, and she doesn't want to look like a liar, but like there's evidence to prove that probably her parents are funding the divorce because Wendy's a princess, and so her parents and her brother are gonna take care of her. I don't think she probably paid a dime. I'm sure probably the money that Wendy stole when she basically robbed their bank account, that's probably what funded the divorce. So
Well, it could have, as well as her mommy dearest and her daddy bailing her out financially. Yeah. And it was so like, it was so telling when Donna wrote in one of those emails that she was keeping all the receipts of the food that she was buying for the grandchildren, and she was saying, ask your lawyer, does she want these receipts?
that's just how we feel.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows how like fixated they were on every single dime and dollar. So once again, it makes no sense that they would just go ahead and give money to some extortionist or to Katie without any sort of fight or going to the police or all of their high-powered friends.
Yeah, I believe also, I mean, speaking of money, they took a lot of cash payments from their dental patients. I just wonder how much of that was reported to the IRS.
None of it. I mean, if they're doing it all in cash and storing it in their safe, they're not paying taxes on that at all. So, yeah.
So there's a reason they were rolling the deep because they didn't pay income tax like the rest of us. So,
yeah. Okay, you want to go on ahead? Keep watching. Okay, thank you guys for being here.
I had one, and then Danny accused her of ethical violations and stealing money, and so I had to hire a new attorney. I think he had 3 or 4.
No, I was talking about you. So you had 2.
I had one, and then I had to get another. Yes.
All right. And who paid for those 2 attorneys?
I did.
Did your mom retire from the dental practice during the time of your divorce to facilitate her spending more time with the children?
No, she didn't retire from the dental practice. She did help me during the divorce and help me with the kids. They were very small, but she didn't retire. She just worked for my dad, so it was okay if she took a leave of absence here and there.
All right. Did you discuss your marital problems and the resulting legal issues with your mother?
Are you having trouble trying to keep up with your professor? You've got to try Otter. Here's how it works.
I'm sure of that.
Is it fair to say your mother is a controlling person?
I think my mom is and was very invested in my life. I don't think of her as a controlling person.
Is it fair to say around the time of your divorce that your mom did not like Dan Markel?
I think that's fair to say. I think she was very disappointed by the way he treated me.
In fact, she despised him, didn't she?
I can't speak to how my mom felt or whether she despised him. I think she was very disappointed.
She sent you some emails to indicate her feelings about Dan Markel around that time, didn't she?
She did.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 63. We'll come back to this, but we can decide.
Ms. Kappelman, do you want me to read it?
No, ma'am. Just take a look at those and tell me if you can authenticate them as emails that were sent to you from your mother.
I can authenticate them.
All right. So the donnaharvey@gmail.com is your parents' shared email address. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But these emails were coming from your mother based on the context. Is that right? Not your dad.
I imagine they probably represented both of their feelings. They've been married 51 years, so sometimes my mom speaks for my dad.
Okay. All right, so there's one, I believe it's on top there, dated May 3rd, 2013. Was that about 3 months before your divorce was finalized?
My memory is that our divorce was finalized in June 2013. So
Okay.
wouldn't that just be 1 month before?
I had July 31st, so
Okay.
whatever is your memories.
So, okay, this was May and our divorce was finalized in July then.
Just want to talk a little bit about the emails that are in front of you there. So on that first email dated May 3rd, 2013, page 1 of 5, and the second real paragraph, does your mother indicate that the most important
Objection.
part of your divorce is
Objection.
relocation?
Hold on a second, Ms. Kaufman.
I don't believe this item is an evidence round.
The items have not been admitted into evidence at this point, Ms. Kaufman.
Correct.
All right, so I don't want you reading from them if they haven't been admitted into evidence.
All right, Ms. Adelson, did your mother indicate to you that, to her, the most important part of your divorce is
Objection, Your Honor,
relocation?
objection.
That's sustained.
Okay, Judge, at this time, I would ask to approach.
Sidebar, the witness.
Sidebar.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Ms. Adelson, what was the most important part of your divorce to your mother?
You're asking in reference to the email or not in reference to the email?
Not in reference to the email.
So just in general, what for
Yes.
her, it was probably for me to be safe and be in a stable situation with the boys.
Okay, would it refresh your recollection to take a look at the emails in front of you, State's Exhibit, which are marked as State's Exhibit 63?
If I look at it, she's saying
Hold on
here,
a second. Just review it,
Just,
okay?
If you'd read to yourself about the first half of that second real paragraph.
Just review it to yourself, and then Ms. Kaufman will ask you another question.
okay,
All right, does that refresh your recollection about what your mother felt was the most important non-negotiable term of your divorce?
it does.
Okay, and what was that?
That was relocation.
And did your mother, I think you said she was very unhappy with him. Did you agree that she despised him?
I can't speak to whether my mom despised him or didn't. She was very, very disappointed with the way he treated me.
Okay, and did you ever call him names?
I don't remember her calling him names.
Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at the emails for that?
I'm happy to.
Okay, if you'll take a look at page 1, about halfway down. Just read those few sentences there, and then I will draw your attention to page 2 when you're ready. Actually, you know what? For refreshing purposes, I'm going to approach I'm just going to kind of draw your attention to the items highlighted in green. If you'll just look at those to yourself and then flip through and look for those items highlighted.
Okay. Do you want me to go through the whole thing?
No, go through and just to yourself. Look at the items.
It's a lot to expect.
Okay.
Did your mom ever refer to your husband as an asshole,
Yes.
a bully,
Yes.
a zealot,
A religious zealot. Yes.
a jackass,
Yes.
a religious extremist?
Yes.
What about gibbers? She calls them gibbers?
Yeah, Tippers is not a bad name. It was a silly name that I came up with during a period of time when I felt incredibly terrorized by Danny. And so it was a word that I would use to kind of make him seem less scary.
Is it fair to say that it was a derogatory term?
No.
Okay, but you came up with it directly in relation to him terrorizing you.
I did. It was a way to take the steam out of a situation I found scary. I wouldn't say it was derogatory. I just think it was.
And when you say scary, are you alleging physical abuse?
I'm not alleging physical abuse.
All right.
Yeah, so I think a lot of us are just kind of like snorting at this because it's so ridiculous how she just has to keep lying and stuff. You know, always making Dan look bad, trying to make herself look like a victim.
Yeah, and this explains why Jeff Lucas wanted to, what did he say, beat his ass or something?
Yeah.
His ass. So, you know, she is an actress, but I think again it plays probably well one-on-one. The rest of us can kind of see her BS, and so she just probably played it up that she was basically kind of insinuated that she was fearful of Danny, and she got people like Jeff Lacasse to think like, oh, there might have been physical abuse or something. So I think she played up that like damsel in distress. And I love that Georgia. I was like waiting for him. Like, is Georgia gonna basically ask her, like, are you afraid physically for yourself? Are you alleging abuse? And I'm so glad Georgia asked that, because I feel like saying she's scared and terrorized are big, bold statements. So what does that mean? But it's part of her histrionic language as part of like the cluster B personality disorder. Like histrionic people, they use very like bold language to describe maybe something that's, oh, I was nervous, or he made me uncomfortable. It was a tough divorce. Like she could use more neutral language, but she uses these very like accusatory statements or terms. So that's just Wendy.
Yeah, and just the way she's answering questions, it really reminds me of the same way that Charlie spoke when he was on the stand. You know, where they just won't answer the questions. They have their own little agenda where they have to sneak in their explanation and go off track because they have an agenda as to what they want to get out there to make themselves look good. So she and Charlie are so much alike.
Yeah, image is very important to this family. I mean, just looking at the pictures, and you know, I don't know how much their cocktail dresses and gowns cost, but I'm sure it's in the thousands. Some of the dresses looked really pretty. I think Donna even wore like she's a woman in her 60s at the time, a see-through top or something.
Yeah, that mesh
Yeah.
topless dress.
She's got, that's why it's just hilarious to me that she's complaining about carbs in jail, because, her figure was important. So image is just important to this whole family, whether I think Wendy ran marathons, fitness was very important. And I think fitness is a good thing, but like, I feel like they are still trying to perpetuate this image, and like, it's like the jig is up, they just don't know how to be real people because they're constantly being performative and they don't know how to be real.
Yeah, they know how to try to manipulate people and try to look good and say the right things and stuff, but with their actions, you can see how terrible they really are. And remember how Dan supposedly told her that he knew what a bad person she was, and she had had everybody fooled, but only he knew what a bad person she was. I'm like, well, maybe that's true. But the way she was saying it during her writing class podcast, she was trying to like get people to feel sorry for her because he was such a horrible ex-husband saying these things.
I think when a narcissist knows that you know who they are, they try to discredit you. And I think that she just tried, when she found out that Dan knew exactly who she was, like she couldn't have the mask with him anymore. I think that was like the beginning of the end for him, because I think she's tried to destroy him since that moment, whenever that was. And so she knew like for the rest of their marriage, she couldn't act anymore. So it just, the discard came fast and hard. And unfortunately, it's like, I'm sure he probably was like, wait, what happened? Like, where did my wife go? But she was just pretending the entire time during the marriage. I think she tolerated him, but I don't think, I think she said in her book that she thought she could cheat the system and marry someone that she wasn't in love with. But I mean, that's probably one of the most honest answers or statements that she's ever made. Like, she didn't love him. She just wanted to marry a nice Jewish man that also had like a nice polished career, because again, image was very important to her. And I think she was embarrassed of Jeff Lacasse and his car, because he drove like kind of like a rinky-dink car, and
Nissan Sentra.
And I think she was trying to like, he had like a basement apartment. Like, I think she was really embarrassed of him. So I think Jeff Lacasse was probably the patsy from day one. I think he was a mark for her.
Yeah, she felt like she could manipulate him very easily because he had such a kind heart, and being from a social work background, he wanted to care about people and help people. So he was like her prey.
Yeah, and that's why she was cheating on him the whole time, because I'm sure he was just, I don't know. I just think she's a very codependent person. She constantly, like, I'm one of those people, like, if I'm dealing with something, I'll try to sort it out myself. But she's one of those people that's calling 20 people. If you look at her, she's constantly on the phone. She's constantly having lunch. She's constantly checking in with people. And
Yeah.
she's constantly complaining. So I think he was like her emotional support boyfriend. And then the guys that she was really attracted to were all in Miami. So yeah, I don't know.
That's right.
I feel bad
Yeah.
for him. He seems like a really nice guy. So I feel bad for Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he's okay. And he knows tons of people support him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. These are good comments that
Yes.
Barbara and Rebecca are making, because that's what Ruth Markel said in her book, that Donna was upset when Dan decided to leave his, prestigious DC big law firm job to become a professor. Because, law professors, they make pretty good money, but it's nowhere near as much as what he could have made if he had, become law partner at a big firm. So to Donna, that was probably like, man, why'd you do that? My Wendy was supposed to have some sort of, rich, high-powered type of job too, and you guys could be successful, breaking into millions, living in a big city. But instead, he wants to be in Podunk, Tallahassee, being a professor.
Hiawassee Springs.
Yeah, Hiawassee Springs, like a stop in the middle of nowhere or whatever that was.
I lived in Orlando for a couple of years during the pandemic, and there is Hiawassee I used to see it like every day on my commute. So I know exactly what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how did you like it out there? Did you like it?
I love Miami for vacation, but living in Central Florida, I'm originally from New York, like I said, so it was kind of like living in an oven. I should have done a lot more research, but I think everyone wanted to escape New York during the pandemic, so I just it was Orlando. I wanted to avoid hurricanes, and sure enough, like the first year I lived there, they had a hurricane that crossed from the Gulf to the yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm back in North Carolina. So
Okay.
too hot. I don't know if anyone knows this, but if you are from the north and you move to Florida, and then you leave Florida and you move somewhere to like the Carolinas, you're considered a halfbacker. So I'm officially a halfbacker right now. So
yeah. Well, would you want to go back to New York?
Honestly, well, I don't want to get into politics, but just their policies, it was like a prison state during lockdowns. I mean, I saw like people getting arrested at Walmart for grocery shopping, and it was just too much. It was like a police state. It was like I now know what home confinement, or what is it, when you're in house arrest. It literally felt like house arrest. People were ratting at each other. So I don't want to get into politics here, but you can probably gauge my politics. And I believe, I don't know, each state, that's why I'm a federalist. So I feel like each state should decide its own rules, and New York's policies are a little bit too blue for me. So I like North Carolina's a little purple, so a little here and there, but I don't think I love New York, but it's just, I don't want to go through another lockdown again. So I'm never going back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank God we're pretty much over COVID these days.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about lockdowns and all that stuff. But I still keep buying lots of toilet paper. Like whenever I go out, it's like, oh, maybe I need another jumbo pack of toilet paper just in case.
And I have never, like, sometimes you want to stock up, right? And I'm like, wait, am I allowed to buy more than one thing of toilet paper? Because like you weren't even allowed to buy more. Yeah. So
yeah, I remember.
Because people were like, mass stocking up. So.
Oh, Barbara is saying it's 100 degrees in New York today.
It's the same in North Carolina as well right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, Dawn, you guys please support Dawn's channel. And I think True Crime Wifey also has a channel. Let me see if there's anybody else that I need to highlight who has a YouTube channel. Well, okay. Trying to support. Who's the George guy? Yeah, so I think he's the new Patsy, who's probably helping Wendy take care of the kids and helping her with her life, but she doesn't really have to work because she's got to be getting more than $5,000 a month by now for Social Security benefits for the kids. And, she still has family money that's supposed to be doled out from Dan's life insurance policy for the kids. So this George guy works in IT and he's Latino. He has some sort of impressive sounding job. So
I'm surprised Donna's allowing Wendy to date him. He's not Jewish, right? Maybe,
Well,
maybe he is Jewish.
Wendy,
But
yeah, but here's the thing, like Wendy dated tons of men of color after Dan, and I still suspect that she was probably already having some sort of affair. This is just a guess or rumor, but there was that first boyfriend, Miguel, who's African American, and he was supposedly friends with both of them and came for a visit before Dan and Wendy separated. So she actually mentioned this guy during her deposition, her family law deposition. And then she also dated some African American politician and let's see, some Indian American businessman. Let's try to remember all these people that we've heard of. Yeah.
Didn't Jeff Lacasse say that Wendy confessed to him that she was into some weird or very like kinky stuff, or that like I guess she's
like polyamory. I think that's the euphemism for it, polyamory, because she was with that other professor who was into that type of lifestyle. So he encouraged her to do that too, allegedly.
Yeah, I think okay, so another thing about personalities disorders, I think she's a borderline, and I'm not casting a blanket statement about borderlines, but they tend to be very promiscuous. So think about like Amber Heard and what she did to Johnny Depp, and just they're very overtly sexual. So I believe that definitely Wendy definitely leads with like sex and charm and flirt. I think she flirts with everyone. She probably flirts with women. I think even that what is it called? That victim's advocate. She was trying to emotionally connect with her, not flirting with her, but like, oh, didn't she say we're like sisters or something? We have a lot in common or something like that.
Yeah, if we could be sisters. I have that skirt. Don't you think we look alike?
Yeah, so I think she's constantly trying to charm people and love bomb them, and I think it works really well one-on-one, but like all eyes are on them. It's just they're too obvious. So she can't charm all of us because she doesn't have that intimate one-on-one relationship with us, and we can see her for what she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to go through all these comments here.
Yeah, you guys are doing. I love your comments, Mona. I love yours. They're really funny.
Oh yeah, the teacher student corn. Let's call it corn. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this has got to be so embarrassing for him, but people already were talking about it and posted the full police interview videos up on YouTube already. So, but it gives you more insight into this family, because on the surface, you just think, oh, wow, Wendy's so successful. And people said she was nice. She did tons of work to help immigrants and children and human trafficking victims. That was her focus. So she was like a social justice warrior. But then you dig a little deeper and you hear from people who actually knew her. And it's like, like this family is weird and they're so full of themselves, and they seem like they're totally involved in murdering Dan too.
That's another part of narcissists, is they love to be altruistic, like faux altruistic. So they love the fact she's always touting, oh, I'm a human trafficking lawyer, and I feel like she uses these victims as a shield, as some sort of signal that she's this great savior of them. And I think I'm surprised she got into immigration law. I wonder how that got influenced, because I see her more as like a tax attorney or something, corporate attorney. she has no business working with like people who are that vulnerable, in my opinion, because I think she's a predator. So
Yeah, like she used them to make herself look good, and then she wrote that book using a composite of her clients' stories and stuff to make herself look like some big hero.
yeah.
So that's how she uses people. And similarly, they use these poor immigrant people of color to help them kill off Dan and solve their problem, throw a little bit of money at them, thinking they could just get away with it. Well,
Yeah, they just see everyone as kind of their servants or patsies, and I mean, I guess, and I don't know, but yeah.
mhm. Yeah. Hey, Victoria. Okay. Yeah, I did do some comedic sketches about Wheel of Fortune and the banana bread making, but sometimes people didn't like it, or
I haven't watched that one yet. I love when you did Katie Magbanua, Unintelligible. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was the best.
Yeah, for some reason, one of my viewers just really enjoyed seeing me wearing those sunglasses. I'm like, those sunglasses cost me $20 at the Tallahassee airport because I had to buy them at the airport store for the skit. Yeah. Let's see. Human trafficker's lawyer whose brother engages in underage sex tourism. Can't make this up. Yep. That's so true. It's so appalling. It's like, what? Like you're this big advocate, but yet you knew that your brother would go to countries to do this kind of stuff. What
And
would
then-
you say to him?
And
Nothing.
I just think I see, this is the part I don't know the truth of this, but I think Jeff Lacasse alluded to some sort of inappropriate relationship between Wendy and Charlie. Like,
Yeah,
like
I
they
heard that.
like they crossed the line or something like that. And I feel like him sharing the story of him basically, I mean, violating, I don't know what you want to call it. They said it's consensual, but like
The girlfriend,
because he got
the Korean girlfriend.
wedding or something like that, or one of those weddings, he was the only white guy, and so they, I guess, Charlie's the big talker, so he probably got in a fight with someone. And he said that story, like, if my brother, I mean, I would beat him. Like, if he ever did that to, first of all, my brother would never do that. But I'm just saying, like, if I heard that, I was a human traffic lawyer, and I found out a young lady, regardless of, she happened to be Asian, that my brother violated her as a punishment sexually, that is such a red flag. And it's like, how dare you even say that in my presence? That means you disrespect me as a sister. Like, where's the boundaries with this family? And so, like, Jeff Lacasse, like, he's a social worker, right, professor? So he's already, like, I think he had to probably take courses on dysfunctional families. And I think when you and I spoke that first time, Judy, I think you told me that Jeff went to therapy and his therapist said that, like, Wendy's like a sociopath.
Yeah, like, have you considered she could be a sociopath?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I just think they're just, if they don't see that as problematic, then I'm sure they see Dan as someone who's not even human, and they can justify killing him because the ends justify the means.
Yeah, and that's why I heard from someone behind the scenes that pretty much all the family, friends, and relatives turned their backs on Rob when he started questioning, that perhaps his family was involved in killing Dan. But the other people were just like, well, so what? Like, maybe they did do it, but Dan was such a horrible person anyway, so who cares? So it's weird. It's like this whole community of people just banded together to continue supporting the Adelsons minus Rob.
They're called flying monkeys. And so the smear, I'm sure Donna, just as much as when he was pumping everyone with information about Dan and doing the smear campaign with a narcissist, that is perpetual and lifelong. They have their vault and they will take up anything that you've ever done, and they will invent stuff. So I'm sure Donna probably told the extended family about Dan, and that they're the victims. And I believe, they said like bad things happen when good men don't or women don't stand up. I believe evil people exist because of enablers. Like if the enablers would just stop, people like Wendy and Donna and Charlie, they wouldn't have oxygen to commit their crimes. So it sucks that Rob I feel like he was victimized over and over again. First, he was discarded by his family. Then, he had to marry a woman he didn't love and go through all that hoopla. And then he was finally reunited with his family again. And then, I mean, props to Rob, because it takes a lot of courage to be like, oh my God, I think they had something to do with it, because he knew that was probably relationship ending. He knew that they would probably discard him for life. But that's bravery on his part, because
Yeah. I'm so glad that he stepped away from that family and he's come forward to tell the truth.
And Honest Abe, Mr. C. So yeah, his family called him Honest Abe because one time, I guess when he was like a teenager or in college, he went to get some snack or something, and the person, they gave him too much change. He gave him like a 20. And so Rob corrected them and said, oh, you gave me too much change. So he recounted the story back to his parents and siblings, and they chided him and said, how dare you give that money back?
Yeah, they just made it into a joke, making fun of him for being honest. Jeez, what a horrible way to teach your kid. That's bad
so
parenting.
When she says, I want to move back to Miami for stability, I mean, seriously, that's stable. I mean, they're con artists and crooks. So
just with more money,
exactly,
and education,
and influence and pull.
Yeah. Okay, you ready to watch some more? Okay, thank you.
Hoarder house, ugly architecture, and even haunted properties will buy your house in.
What types of things did your mother suggest that you could do to try to coerce or acquire the ability to relocate your kids to Miami?
She suggested that I could change their religion.
Of who?
Of my children.
And why would that affect the relocation effort?
Because religion was so important to Danny that would be a real hot button thing.
Okay. And did she ever suggest that you could bribe your husband to allow the relocation?
She did.
And how much money did she suggest that she and the family would be willing to put up for such a bribe?
So I just saw the bribe reference, but I didn't see the amount. If you want to show me.
I will refresh you on that. Just a moment to find it myself.
Overruled.
Okay.
How much money was your family willing to put out to bribe Dan Markel to let you move to Miami?
They said that they would go as high as $1 million, which would be $333,000 each.
And who are the each?
My mom, my dad, and Charlie.
Did Charlie, you mentioned he also lived in South Florida. Was he employed at the family dental practice?
He worked there sometimes.
And what type of work did he do?
He is a periodontist, so he would sometimes do implants or surgery for people.
Did your motion for relocation get granted or denied by the court?
It was denied by the court.
So you were not legally permitted to move to Miami?
No.
Did you have an alternative? You mentioned previously that there was a hostile work environment at Florida State University as a result of your husband. Or your ex-husband at this point, was the failure to be able to relocate, did that cause you to remain in that environment?
It did.
For how long?
I don't remember the date that the petition to relocate was denied. If you could show me the binder, I could
find the date.
And
I'll draw you to pages 262 and 263.
In the binder? Oh. Okay, so the order was on June. No. It was June 20th, 2013. So I was still working at the law school through July 2014. So I stayed for one more year.
Okay, and it was subsequent to his death that you were able to find new employment that was in a less hostile work environment. Is that accurate?
I mean, eventually after his death, I found new employment. It took me a little while.
Okay. How long did you stay in Tallahassee after your husband was killed? Ex-husband, sorry.
Stayed a couple of days. And then after I had asked the police for protection at the funeral or in my home and they refused, I decided to just go for a couple of days and spend a few days away from Tallahassee. And then this case hit CNN and hit the media. And I didn't.
I don't mean to
safe.
interrupt you, but the question was, how long did you stay in Tallahassee after your husband was killed?
I'm sorry, Ms. Appleman. I stayed for a few days.
Thank you. All right. So how did your mom take the news that you were not going to be able to relocate?
She was very upset.
One moment, please. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the litigation that continued after your divorce was final. Was there a motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement and hold Dan Markel in contempt of court filed by you?
Yes.
And a few months later, did he respond with a counter motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement's final provisions, alleging some violations that he said you made on the marital settlement agreement?
Yes.
And these filings are pretty venomous. Is that a fair characterization?
Not on my part.
Well, on both your parts, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And he accuses you of various things, lying about your financial affidavit and things like that. Would you agree?
He does make those accusations. They were completely baseless, so yes.
And let's see. Oh, in the pleadings, is the tennis racket mentioned as something to fight over? And I can draw your attention to that page in line if you need it.
I imagine it could have been. You can draw my attention if you like, and I can confirm.
Okay, but no reason to argue about the fact that a tennis racket is mentioned specifically in your divorce documents.
I mean, that sounds like some of the nonsense that we argued over, sure.
Okay.
Just one more screenshot, and this SOP is finally done.
And was there a motion? I want to draw your attention specifically to this motion. It's on page 441 of that document in front of you, Exhibit 59. This motion was filed by Dan Markel on March 26th of 2014, so shortly before his death.
I see it.
Okay, what was that motion?
Former husband's counter motion for enforcement of MSA on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions.
And in that motion, did he allege that you were violating the marital settlement agreement in a variety of ways?
Yes, it looks like he did.
Including failing to facilitate communication between he and the boys, failing to keep him informed of where his kids are, failure to communicate about parenting decisions like the kids' schooling, diet, and extracurricular activities, things like that.
Yes, that looks right.
And was he, as part of this motion, seeking to enjoin you from allowing your mother to have time with the children that was unsupervised by another adult?
I am not seeing that right now, but I can continue reading through it.
Take your time.
Actually, oh wait, still going.
Is this a question that you need refreshing on? Did your husband make these allegations? You don't have an independent recollection of that?
Don't have an independent recollection.
Okay.
He made a lot of allegations that weren't true, so I need
All
to look through to figure out which ones we're talking about.
Okay.
Okay, I see it. I see what you're referencing.
All right, so in that filing, Dan Markel alleges that your mother is disparaging him to the children, correct?
That is correct.
And he was seeking a court order saying she couldn't have contact with the kids unless there was another adult present, correct?
I see that here. I don't think I took it seriously at the time, so it didn't really lodge in my memory.
Did
But
your
I-
mom take it seriously?
No.
Was it ever ruled on?
I don't know.
Okay, more pack of lies. Isn't this funny? Like, she did admit that her mom was upset when the relocation got denied. But then later at Charlie's trial, I think she said that nobody took it seriously. But then here, it already sounds like she's saying something different too. Like, oh, it's no big deal. You know, this grandpa motion is no
Didn't she
big deal.
invent banana bread or something at Charlie's trial?
Yes. Yeah, that banana bread was never mentioned before until Charlie's trial. And she seemed like such a liar when she said it because of, you know, her demeanor. And she was so like proud of herself for coming up with that stupid banana bread and a hug story. I mean, hopefully nobody believed it.
I don't know. I'm sure one of her attorneys probably said, you know, you need to push this story because I suspect Wendy was sort of happy that Georgia was focusing on Donna because then the heat was off of her. Like, oh, well, my mom was upset, but I didn't care, you know? So it's just like plausible deniability, like blame shifting. And yeah, I'm just the innocent party here. She just wanted me back, but it wasn't important to me. So she's just.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do we believe that? That is so ridiculous for her to try to claim that, oh, it's no big deal. You know, we didn't really think anything was going to happen with that.
I want to comment on something Barbara in the chat made earlier, which I thought was a very awesome observation. So one of their sons named is Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think, was that like a troll against Rob or something because of Abraham Lincoln? Like, that's such a astute observation. And whoever figured that out, that's pretty awesome. So that's if it is linked to Rob, like the Lincoln part, I think
probably not. I don't know. Maybe Dan Markel just liked it because that was a president's name. I'm just guessing.
I think Lincoln was probably really popular maybe during that time. I don't know, but
I don't know. Yeah. But let's see. So Mona is asking about this Wendy dress. To me, it was very uncomfortable because the one that I got, which I'm sure is the same material, it's very thick. It's like a double layered, almost wool type of very tightly woven material. So the dress is hot and it just didn't fit me right because I'm so short and it's not a petite size. So I'm sure on Wendy it probably fit well because she's probably like 5'10" or something. So she wore this dress over and over again, and we saw her giving her presentation at Palm Beach State College wearing the same dress. And there's a picture of her, which is on the thumbnail of one of my recent videos where she's talking to high school students for some sort of mentorship program. And she's wearing the same dress again, too. So,
yeah, I think that's just another part of Wendy's trolling. I think she just likes to stick it to the man. And she just like, they love to play these little stupid childish pranks. She definitely got a new dress for Charlie's trial, though.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Similar to the one you're wearing today with the angle.
That's why I'm wearing this dress right now, but the neckline is actually the opposite of her neckline. So slight difference. It took me forever to find this dress. So hopefully some avid trial watchers appreciate it and get the reference. Yeah.
And not to, she's a pretty woman and stuff, but like someone was mentioning about how she's gonna enjoy braids in prison. She does need a good like protein or conditioning treatment or some sort of blowout. Like I just feel like her hair always looks unkempt. For the amount of money that she has, she needs a trim. So Wendy, you need a trim.
Yeah, I agree. From a purely superficial level, the hair at this trial just looked a little bit too frizzy.
Because look at Georgia's, like Georgia. What's the other attorney's name?
Sarah Catherine Ducan.
It's funny. All the women in this trial, or Wendy and the two prosecutors, have long, kind of flowing, beautiful hair, but like the other two know how to like get a regular. They know how to maintain it. And hers is always. She's got a lot of hair, and she's got really nice hair. But I feel like you have all this hair, just style it properly. But I don't know. Oh, and someone else mentioned, this is totally off topic, but you know how she, at the police station, she wasn't, you see her, she's usually wearing like makeup and some sort of nice outfit. They said that she was wearing like the t-shirt and the shorts.
Yes.
And the hair up in the bun because she was moving and packing all day.
Makes sense.
Packing the U-Haul probably down the street or something. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense because how was she able to pack up and move away by, say, midday Monday after Dan died? So, I don't know how much stuff they moved away that day, but it just seems so suspicious that she didn't want to be in touch with Jeff Lacasse the whole week, and she told him she needed a week break, no communication, and I suspect she was busily packing and plotting with her family during that time.
I know I'm going off topic one more time, but I have to plug, I forgot the name of the channel. I'll find it later. But I watched probably one of the best explanations of Wendy ever. And basically they said that, so during Wendy's police interview, there was a point when they were saying, oh, me and Dan were supposed to meet up to talk about, because I think she had enrolled Ben in school without telling Dan, and he was trying
to charter school lottery.
So she was basically supposed to like meet up with him at like FSU campus or something like that. She was supposed to see him in person that day. And this video, I forget the name of the channel, I'll find it in a minute. She basically alludes that Wendy's plan was to basically drive, how she drove on Trescott, to drive by Dan's house and go to his house and discover him. Because during the police interview, she said that Dan had no plans that day, that no one was looking for him. So I think she actually drove on Trescott to discover him, only to be shocked that the neighbor had heard the shot and called the police. So I think her whole plan was, like, I had never heard that theory before, but I think the more I think about it, that's actually pretty plausible.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. And
no?
Joe Patuto also disagrees with that idea,
really?
Because that would draw even more attention to her, because usually, if you're the one calling the police, then the suspicion's going to be on you, because why would the ex-wife have any sort of reason to be just driving over to his house so soon after he was shot? What a coincidence that you happen to drive by, right? So I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like she just drove over there to confirm that he was dead, but not because she wanted to go over and find the body. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I just think like, I think that the YouTube channel is Jackie St. Germain. I'm sure many people in the chat are familiar with it, but she does a lot of good content. And I had never heard that theory, but the way she pieced it together, it's very convincing. So, but yeah, it's you're right. She putting herself on the scene of the crime probably is a big leap. So
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off topic, so we can come back.
Okay. Yeah, they were definitely supposed to talk about the.
I texted you, but probably after this clip, I'm probably gonna need a quick buyer break. So maybe like 15 more minutes, and then I'll I'll just.
Okay, sure. We can just wrap it up in like 10 minutes or so because I need to get up and do stuff and
Oh, okay.
it's a long day. So, okay. So, but feel free to get up and leave if you
Oh,
need
it's
to
okay. No, I just
break.
I have a feeling my cat's gonna break in. He knows how to.
Oh,
open
no.
it.
Okay.
I'm trying
Okay,
to
just
get out of the
5
office.
more minutes. Okay.
If it were, it should be here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it here?
No, it's not. It was scheduled to be ruled on in August of 2014, right?
I don't know. I don't know when it was scheduled for. I do know that nobody took it very seriously.
Okay, so your mom wasn't worried about that motion being granted. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your brother. You can just sort of close that binder and leave it in front of you if that's okay. How old is your brother, Charlie Adelson?
He is 45.
Is he your older or younger brother?
I have 2 older brothers, so he is one of the 2 older brothers.
Are you closer to one more than the other?
Yes,
Which one are you closer to?
Charlie.
And has that always been the case or just since this case?
No, it's not since this case. I think when we were kids, I was probably closest to my oldest brother, and then after getting to be an adult myself around my 20s, I was probably closer to my middle brother.
Around the time of 2013 and 2014, were you closer to Charlie at that time?
I would say so.
All right. And are you aware of any connection at any time between your brother Charlie and any gang members?
No.
Did your brother use drugs?
He did, yeah.
What type of drugs did he use?
Marijuana.
Okay. What else?
I don't know of anything else.
Okay. And do you know where he got the drugs from that he used?
I don't.
Was he a recreational marijuana user or was he a drug dealer?
I would say he was a recreational marijuana user.
Was this something he did every day or just occasionally?
I don't know how often. I don't know if it was every day, but I do know that the pain of the last few years has led him to do some self-medicating.
Okay, but I'm really speaking of the time frame. I should have clarified 2013 to 2014.
I don't know if he was using any drugs during that time.
Okay, I have to pause and say, doesn't that sound so ridiculous? Like the pain of the case would cause Charlie to be self-medicating? Why? I mean, if he had nothing to do with the murder, then why would he be suffering so much from the pain of the case? That just, it just sounded so stupid.
I mean, they have an excuse for everything, and it's like, I mean, they already have a profile on this guy. He goes like for the sex tourism trips in like Southeast Asia, and like he's very cavalier about, hanging out with people from the wrong side of the track. So, and I think he did steroids, right? So I think she's like trying to find, I don't know, to minimize his drug use. Like, I think wasn't it Jared Ross that said that like he found out that Charlie did a lot of like hard drugs in college, as like a big partier, and he probably wouldn't have been friends with Charlie in college and stuff. So I bet Wendy's probably done drugs with him too. I don't think she's Miss Clean, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about her and any possible drug use, but it did sound like she liked her liquor, and have said that she would drink her dinners, and then she had the nerve to say she didn't really know how to buy bourbon or she didn't know her liquors, so she had to ask for help at the ABC store. Yeah. So, okay. Do you want to watch for a few minutes? And
because I think this next part's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, somebody is a big fan of yours out there. They said, please don't leave.
Oh, thanks, guys.
But we have stuff to do. We've both been working all day, so I'm sorry.
You became aware of it subsequent to the incidents that we're here about today?
That's right.
Okay. Were you aware that your brother, I think you testified he sometimes worked at the Adelson Institute. What did you mean by that? Where else does he work?
So he is a periodontist, and he has kind of a traveling practice of sorts. So he would work in various doctor's offices throughout Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach counties. And so sometimes he would work.
Let's talk salary.
Great. What do you typically offer for this role?
It's competitive.
And if it was a number, it would be
from my dad's practice, but sometimes he would work in different offices. I don't know how often he worked at which one. I just know he worked at various offices.
All right. So I asked you, I'm sorry to change topics on you so much, but previously we were talking about your two brothers. Is your other brother, not Charlie, but your other brother, is he located here in Florida?
He is not.
All right. Back in 2014, was he living in another state?
He lived in Gainesville for a while. I'm trying to remember in 2014 if he was in Gainesville. I don't think so. I think he was in another state.
All right. So been in another state throughout the incidents we're here about.
I believe so, yes.
All right, now back to what we were talking about with your brother Charlie's practice. So he travels around to different dentist offices and performs a specific service, like on a contract basis. All right, and are you aware that he does that type of work or offers a discount for that type of work if his customers pay in cash?
I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware of your brother carrying large amounts of cash?
He did sometimes carry more cash than I would, but not like big sums of cash. No.
Did you observe the cash that he carried to be stapled together in packs?
No, I never saw staples.
Has your brother ever been married?
No.
How would you describe the kind of lifestyle your brother was enjoying back around the time of these incidents, 2013, 2014?
I think he lived a bachelor lifestyle, very different than mine. Would enjoy nice restaurants, had lots of girlfriends.
Not a lot of responsibilities.
Not a lot of responsibilities.
A lot of girlfriends.
You say not a lot?
A lot of different girlfriends.
Always a different girl.
Yeah. Who is Jerome Obed?
He is a person who used to live with my brother.
Do you know the time frame that he lived with your brother?
I remember I introduced him to his current wife, and that was maybe 2011. So maybe during the period, I don't know how much, I can tell you he was living with them that year, but I don't know for how long before or how long after they lived together. They were friends though.
Oh, so, okay, so you can't tell us whether he was living with your brother in the 2013, 2014 timeframe that we're here about.
I don't remember.
And is Mr. Obed also a doctor or a dentist?
He is a dermatologist.
Dermatology, thank you. All right, and your brother, we were talking about his lifestyle and the girlfriends. Does he also drive fancy cars?
He does.
Including a Ferrari?
Yes.
All right. And were you aware of one of his girlfriends by the name of Katherine Magbanua?
Yes.
Did you ever have the opportunity to meet that particular girlfriend?
Yes, we met maybe 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times? Do you recall what the occasions were?
There was one time we had dinner when I was in town, which is what I did every time I'd come to town and have dinner with my brother and a different girl. And then one time I went to the beach for an hour or so, and she and a friend of hers joined us.
Okay. And was there a third time?
I don't actually remember a third time.
All right. So was there anything special about this girlfriend in terms of her relationship with your brother? Did they seem closer or more serious?
It didn't seem serious.
Were you off-put by Ms. Magbanua for any reason? Did she seem like different from the ordinary trail of women that came through his life?
She seemed perfectly nice.
Did you bond with her in a special way? Did you have a different type of relationship with her than you had with any of his other girlfriends?
No, I mean, if anything, I'd say I'd been closer to other girlfriends. I only met her twice.
All right. What about her ex, Sigfredo Garcia? Were you aware of him at all before this case?
No.
So you didn't even know she had an ex?
I knew she had an ex because my brother once mentioned that he was dating a girl and she had an ex that seemed a little scary.
All
and
right.
I said, maybe you should stay away from that.
Yeah, and so the ex, did you have specific knowledge about why he was a little scary?
No.
And did Katherine Magbanua ever tell you anything that was specifically scary about him?
No.
Were you aware of your brother having any communications with the scary ex-husband?
No, only that my brother seemed a little scared of him, but I don't know that they talked or didn't talk.
So it would be surprising to you to learn that they had a relationship.
Very.
What about your ex-husband, Dan Markel? Did you ever know him to be involved with any type of drug activity or gangsters, anything like that?
No, Danny consulted on criminal law cases. So I do remember there being a case involving Orthodox rabbis that were engaging in some very violent activity. And that had me concerned. But other than that, no.
Okay. Not in his personal life?
No.
Okay. Was your brother Charlie, or is your brother Charlie, protective of you?
He is, yeah.
Did you discuss your marital problems with him back during the time of 2013, 2014?
I did.
Is it fair to say that in the time frame leading up to the murder of your ex-husband that your brother did not like your ex?
I think it's fair to say. I mean, I also think it's fair to say he wasn't particularly concerned with it. He was leading his own life and not really focused on mine.
But your mom was really focused on yours.
My mom was focused on mine.
And your mom was in the ear of your brother quite a bit, same as she was with you, right?
I don't know about how much she was in his ear or not.
Did your brother ever mention hiring a hitman to kill your ex-husband?
He never mentioned hiring a hitman. He told one bad off-color joke where he said he had bought me a TV when I got divorced and said it was a present and made a very bad joke and bad taste that it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
And was
But
that, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Hey, do you want to stop here and give some last minute comments before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I just think she is the queen of minimizing everything, and it's very transparent, and she doesn't do herself any favors. I think if she was, it's a little bit like, I understand she's trying to protect herself. I get it from her point. This is a very adversarial interaction with the prosecutor, but I just think she, pick your battles. And I feel like she just goes after these things that are just a losing battle every time. So I think her judgment is very poor, actually. So again, I think she just was successful because she was able to sort of manipulate people one-on-one, but she's against someone like Georgia Kappelman, and Georgia, has her number. So I just think Wendy's just outnumbered and outsmarted and outwitted, and I feel like her days are numbered, and I can't wait to see until she gets indicted, because she's an unindicted co-conspirator. So I just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm still optimistic also, because I do feel like the prosecution needs her to testify as a witness. So that could be why she still hasn't been arrested yet. But it's not because the prosecution thinks that they don't have enough evidence or that she's not involved. So let me see what else I wanted to mention. Yeah, it's pretty obvious during this chunk that we played that she was smiling way too much. It's like, why are you smiling? Why are you so self-satisfied with yourself? Like, like she thinks she's being so cute and charming the whole time. It's very off-putting.
Yeah, I just think it's everything has worked in her favor thus far, and I think she thought she laid the groundwork during the police interview. She has so many fall guys. Jeff Lacasse, thankfully he left town early, didn't tell her. So, the 2 times Jeff Lacasse went out of town, the hit went out on Danny. So, the second one being successful. So I feel like she has, I really hope Donna flips on her. Like, I really hope Donna cuts a deal, but Donna's too stubborn, and her image is too important. But I hope that Donna gets desperate. Like, that would be like such an awesome get, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. Yeah, but that was a big surprise when we found out that Katie was going to be making proffers. I mean, wasn't that a huge shock to you when finally, she decided to supposedly spill the beans? It was very depressing to see the proffer videos, but
yeah, I'm not as familiar. Well, remind me what a proffer is again. It's just like an interview or deposition?
Yeah, where she's finally agreeing to try to make a deal with the state by confessing.
And for like a shorter sentence.
Yeah, in hopes that maybe she could still get a potential deal. Because I was really surprised to hear this, but apparently in Florida and some states, they do still allow defendants to make a deal even after being convicted and sentenced. So in this kind of vast conspiracy, there's still some sort of necessity or some sort of value to what she could still offer to the state as a potential witness. But so far, she hasn't gotten any sort of deal.
And maybe once Charlie's appeal fails, which it will. I mean, Rashban's such a terrible attorney that who knows? I'm surprised that they hired that tool. That guy was even
the tool. That's kind of harsh, calling Rashban a tool.
I think he conned them all, in my opinion. So like, even when I was watching the behavioral panel, they thought that Rashban was like the prosecutor when he was on direct with Wendy. So I think he set up both of his clients up for failure. So I think he's a terrible attorney. And then, so I guess maybe, I think if anyone will flip, it will be Charlie after he loses his appeal. I think he's out for vengeance. So he is, you saw him rolling his eyes when they were recounting Wendy's book. And he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I helped this princess. I can't believe I am in this position because I helped this spoiled little sister of mine. And she's been telling tall tales from the beginning, and I listened to her tall tales. So I think during the trial, he realized that like Wendy was just, lying about Dan, I think. So that was my take. I could be totally wrong, but I think he realized that, oh my gosh, like, I don't think he even probably knew much about the book. So.
Yeah, he's not the type that would be reading her book either. Yeah, but I also feel that Charlie wouldn't turn on Wendy until after his mom gets convicted and her appeals are over, or maybe until after she and Harvey both pass away. Because if he wants to cut a deal, he has to tell 100% the truth. And I'm sure that means he has to spill the beans on his parents too. So I don't see him turning on them.
Desperate people do desperate things. So I'm sure they'll be unpredictable once he sees that, I think the loyalty ultimately when we're in survival is to ourselves. So I think it's just a human condition. So if he needs to survive and that's his way to survive or see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think anything is possible.
Yeah, you never know what happens. I mean, wasn't that case, what's that called? The Wagner case in Ohio, where that family decided to slaughter the other family regarding custody of a little girl. So in that case, there were multiple family members that turned on each other to cut a deal. Wow. So that was a big surprise. Yeah, but ultimately people want to save themselves, especially if they feel used by other people in their family.
I just saw the news today. There was a woman and her mom who plotted to kill her ex for custody. They lured him and killed him, and she confessed today, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Was that Rastelli?
Yeah, I think it was he traveled from California to like Arizona or somewhere or Utah or something, and it was like they ambushed him and killed him. The brother, the mother, and his ex-wife. So
isn't that the case where the mother actually was Googling Donna Adelson and looking up facts about the Adelson case, but clearly she didn't learn anything by doing her research because they were caught so quickly. It was so obvious.
What a formula to follow. Yeah, just get how to get indicted 101, basically.
Yeah, let's follow the Adelson family.
Yeah.
I guess they thought they were smart because they weren't going to hire hitmen. Instead, they were going to kill off the guy directly. But there's so many sordid cases out there. It's hard to remember all the details, but I really have to thank Kathy from Gossip Rumor Innuendo because she did some hilarious recaps of that case. Yeah, about how the woman hated her husband, or was it ex-husband or husband?
They were actually in the process. He was trying to reconcile with her, so she was
she lured him. Yeah, right. She lured him, and there's all sorts of like, what was it like? They were tracking his car through GPS or something. There's like some sort of evidence that totally showed that they were tracking his whereabouts, and so
the timeline contradicted their story, and so I think he actually parked somewhere to avoid because they were trying to get him to park somewhere, and I think his oil was leaking or something, or.
Yeah, he was trying to be polite by not getting oil on their driveway, and he walks right in, and then he was attacked. But this is the case where the brother claimed self-defense, but they stuck the knife in the wrong hand, and the
Yes.
knife was not facing in the correct direction
Yes.
of how he would have been holding it had the victim really been trying to attack the brother. Yeah, yeah. So you guys have to see Gossip Rumor Innuendo's videos about
Check
that,
her out,
because this is the only reason why I know about that case. So it's very interesting. Yeah. And it's sad, but it's also funny that these idiots thought they could get away with killing the poor guy. Yeah,
I feel so bad
evil.
for him. Like here, he thought he was going to be reconciling with his mom or his wife,
Yeah, his wife.
and it's just she's another Donna. She's a much younger version of Donna, but it's basically a Donna mini me. Again, enmeshed with her children, and had to annihilate the ex. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's click through some of these comments. Sorry, I haven't been able to address everybody, but seems like most people enjoy your commentary. So thank you, Blue Pal, for being here. And
thanks for having me.
showing yourself on camera, and being willing to put yourself out there.
No problem. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I have been following this case for a while and your channel for a while. So when we randomly ran into each other, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, say hi. So
yeah, that's so hilarious. Yeah. Everything happens at the Whole Foods bakery. That was funny how my old friend also just happened to walk by, and I was like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah, we ran into one of Judy's friends, and it was just, yeah. I'm like, is this like the new like coffee shop, like the little Central Perk, everyone meets everywhere?
Yeah, we have to hang out at Whole Foods more often to be social. Yeah. So, well, hopefully you'll come back in the future, because, time just flies by when we're talking about this Adelson Markel case. So it's great to hear your perspectives. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll let you go so you can take care of your cat and everything. So hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks again for having me. And I love the content you produce.
Thank you.
Awesome. So keep doing it. I know it's probably not easy, but all the time, but we appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend. Take care. Bye.